100% safe.
Tanzania, unforgettable.
Nukuu ya Rais Mheshimiwa Samia Suluhu Hassan.
TAMISEMI na TARURA, angalieni njia mtakayoshirikiana. Kama TARURA wana ukosefu wa fedha lakini halmashauri kuna fedha, hizo fedha zitumike kutengeneza barabara, na zile zitakazotoka hazina zitakwenda upande mwingine. Lakini kwa halmashauri zote zenye uwezo wa fedha, basi zitumike kutengeneza barabara katika maeneo yao.
Nukuu ya Rais Mheshimiwa Samia Suluhu Hassan.
In Capital News tonight, President Samia Suluhu Hassan has asked elders in the country to be patient as government looks into their pensions. Eight arrested on allegations of economic sabotage of JPM Bridge. In sports, Yanga Sports Club suffers a huge blow ahead of the Kariakoo Derby. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's get started with the national news. The President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, has asked elders in the country to be patient as the government looks into the possibility of paying pensions to all elders later on, and that the government is unable to do so now, while also asking communities to take care of elders. President Hassan said this when meeting with over 9,000 elders of Dar es Salaam region.
Pamoja na kwamba nitaweka jitihada katika kujenga makazi ya wazee, lakini si jambo ninalolipendelea, kwa sababu wazee hawa wamezaa watoto wao, na hata wale ambao Mungu hakuwajalia kuzaa watoto wao wana ndugu zao na watoto wa ndugu zao. Linalopendeza zaidi ni jamii sisi wenyewe kutunza wazee wetu. Ni watoto kutunza wazee wetu, iwe amekuzaa iwe hakukuzaa, lakini ni mzee wako, ni mzee wa ukoo wako, tuna wajibu wa kuwatunza.
Kwa ridhaa yako, napenda kuzitaja baadhi. Kwanza, wazee hatupati baadhi ya vipimo na dawa tukifika hospitalini. Hivyo, tunaomba wazee tunapokwenda hospitalini tupate vipimo vyote stahiki pamoja na dawa kwa kadri ya magonjwa yanayotusibu.
Na kwamba mimi kama ni mwathirika wa yale yaliyozungumzwa leo, mimi ninaumwa pressure. Na kila siku naenda Muhimbili naambia nipime vipimo, lakini ile 60,000 ya kwenda kupima vipimo nashindwa. Unaondoka pale unaandikiwa dawa za 120,000, naondoka bila dawa na kupima sikupima. Kwa hiyo nikitoka pale nimesononeka, narudi nyumbani nakaa. Hata kama kuna mahali panauma naona hakuna haja ya kwenda hospitali.
And the police force in Mwanza region is detaining 8 people on allegations of theft of construction equipment at the JPM Bridge that is being built by government funds at a cost of over 600 billion shillings in Kigongo Busisi area, Mwanza region, with a warning issued to those sabotaging infrastructure that is being built.
Hii ni baadhi ya miundombinu ambayo inahujumiwa. Tumeikamata maeneo ya Sengerema, na mingine tayari tumekamata maeneo ya Geita na Ushirombo. Tumekamata watu 8 wakiwemo wanaosafirisha, wafanyakazi waliopo kwenye mradi huo ambao wanashirikiana na hawawezi kuhujumu.
We have arrested 8 people, including the transporters, employees of the project, who collaborated with the thieves in their sabotage, and everybody involved will not be left out in order to ensure that stern legal measures are taken against them. Let me also take this opportunity in warning anyone who has intention of stealing even a nail from government development projects. We shall deal with you accordingly.
And the Speaker of the Parliament of Tanzania, Job Ndugai, has directed the Public Accounts Committee to immediately call all public institutions that fail to prepare their 2019-2020 accounts for review by the Controller and Auditor General. Speaker Ndugai gave the order in Parliament in Dodoma while leading the 25th budget meeting.
Kama hawana sababu za maana, tutatoa ushauri kwa serikali ikiwezekana bodi zao zivunjwe. Mashirika hayo ni pamoja na Hospitali ya Taifa ya Muhimbili.
If they don't have valid reasons, we shall advise the government, if it is possible, for respective boards to be dissolved. Such organizations include Muhimbili National Hospital. They did not have audited financial statements. So is MOI, TANESCO, TMX, UTT, TFS, Fertilizer Company, Postal Corporation, and TRL.
Posta na kwa maajabu makubwa shirika la reli.
Pale shule ya sekondari Manda palikuwa na changamoto kubwa sana.
Manda Secondary School was facing challenges, so in this budget I set aside funds for this project, which will be a great help to students who have to walk at least 9 kilometers to get water.
Maji wanateka ziwani, ziwa Nyasa.
Vizuri kwa kuwa serikali imeonyesha usubutu wa kutenga fedha kidogo kidogo kwa ajili ya miradi.
I advise the government to use Lake Tanganyika.
Kwa hiyo nimeshauri serikali tuweze kutumia chanzo cha ziwa Tanganyika.
And the government has revoked the license of an investor that was conducting research for over 20 years at Mwabomba Ushetu area in Kahama district and given it to small-scale miners to use for gold mining, with Minister Biteko issuing 18 small-scale mining licenses for the area.
Miaka mingi tulitegemea wageni kuwekeza, wako waliowekeza tunawashukuru sana.
For many years, we have been depending on foreigners to invest in this sector. We are grateful for those who were diligent enough to allow our country earn something from their investments. But later on, the government saw the need of locals to invest in the sector, even if in small scale. Now you have also got an area to mine. My call to you is please work together with love, cooperation and unity.
Na wakati huo 2004 Mheshimiwa Waziri,
in 2004, this area had license for mining. It is almost 22 years now since small-scale miners were operating here. It took us so long to get the license because previously there was an investor who abandoned this mining site. But as small miners, we also had a small place to mine. We work diligently and close with our local government, where we've also contributed in some of developments in Kahama district.
18 illegal immigrants from Ethiopia have been caught hiding in Mwanga district, Kilimanjaro region, after they entered the country without following the necessary procedures.
Watu 18 waliokamatwa wakiwa wameingia nchini mwetu.
A total of 18 people were arrested who entered our country illegally on 6th of May 2021 around 2 a.m. The police force received a tip of these people from Good Samaritans. In Kileo Ward, Mwanga district, there were people who entered the country illegally. We have also succeeded in seizing 14 kilograms of marijuana and 39 kilograms of khat. Let me remind everybody that this country is not a transit area for illegal immigrants.
Kwamba kuna watu ambao wameingia nchini isivyo halali.
The Minister of State in the second Vice President's office in charge of Policy, Council of Representatives and Coordination, Dr. Khalid Mohammed, has been forced to respond to councillors who wanted more information on union challenges, including division of funds and union employment.
Asilimia 21 na asilimia 79. 21 kwa Zanzibar.
Employment Secretariat of United Republic of Tanzania launched its office in Zanzibar with an agreement that employees from both two parties of the country must have qualities for targeted positions whenever employment opportunities are announced.
Ambazo waliziahidi kuna miradi mingi ambayo wameiandaa.
Wherever new leadership comes in, there is a tendency of not prioritizing previous leadership matters or even projects. My call to the new leadership is to respect and honor previous leaders and decisions they made.
A few days after business talks between President Samia Suluhu Hassan and President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya and maize transporters from Tanzania, whose products were stopped from entering Kenya and claimed that they contained toxic poison, have said that they have begun to have hope to return to their business.
People stayed at the borders for almost 2 months without any luck, where later on they decided to return their crops like these ones were meant to go to Kenya. We are grateful for Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan's assurance that trading activities between these two countries shall resume. Many people earned living through cereals business, but when they decided to close the borders, many of us were really affected because many of cereals traders have took loans to do the business. When the business stopped, many people were affected. Some fell sick and others died.
Katika kauli ambayo amezungumza Rais wa Kenya ambayo imetokana na juhudi za Mheshimiwa Rais.
We received the statement made by the President of Kenya and we are working on matters that were highlighted, where we have already held talks with cereals traders, transporters, and those who bring maize from the farms. They are all now fully aware of the information, and we are expecting for the business of transporting cereals to resume by next week.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and East Africa Cooperation, Ambassador Liberata Mulamula, has met and held talks with 4 envoys who represent their countries in Tanzania and also received the credentials of the appointed Ambassador of Mozambique in the country. The 4 envoys who met Minister Mulamula in Dar es Salaam include the Ambassador of Rwanda, Major General Charles Karamba, the Ambassador of Indonesia, Ratlan Pardede, Ambassador of Sweden, Anders Stråberg, and Ambassador Elizabeth Jacobson of Norway.
Mabalozi kadhaa, mabalozi wa nje walioko nchini. Nimepata bahati ya kukutana na balozi wa Rwanda, nimekutana na balozi wa Sweden, wa Norway, na pia nimeweza kupokea hati za utambulisho ya balozi mteule wa Mozambiki. Madhumuni ya kukutana na mabalozi hawa ni kufahamiana, lakini pia kuweza kujua tuko wapi katika mahusiano kati ya nchi zao na Tanzania.
The main objective of the embassy to strengthen the bilateral relation between Indonesia and Tanzania in various fields, particularly in the field of the economic and also social culture and also tourism. So now our relationship more strong than before, stronger because of the support of the Tanzanian government to Indonesia.
We try to collaborate on investments and private sector opportunities in Tanzania, and we have a good series of meetings planned ahead. So I look forward to future cooperation with the foreign minister.
And that is the end of the national news. International news follows up next. In international news, India has reported a record daily rise in coronavirus cases of 414,188, while deaths from COVID-19 swelled by 3,915, according to the Health Ministry data. India's total coronavirus infections now stand at 21.49 million, while its total fatalities have reached 234,083. India, which is battling a ferocious second wave of coronavirus, has added 1.57 million cases and just over 15,000 deaths this week alone. And the National Assembly in Kenya has passed the Building Bridges Initiative, BBI bill, with 235 out of 320 members of Parliament present during the second reading, voting in favour of the bill, while 83 voted against it and 2 others abstained. During voting in the third reading, which occurred a few minutes to midnight, 224 MPs supported the bill, 63 voted no, and 2 abstained.
135 votes. Mimi Atibu Abdalla Mashetani, mjumbe wa Lungalunga Kwale County, kwa niaba ya watukufu wa Kwale napiga kura ya ndio. I am Dede Nyoro, and on behalf of the people of Kiharu, I say a big no. Of Turkana Central, I vote no.
And the government of Burundi, in cooperation with Japan, will expand and rehabilitate the port of Bujumbura so as to increase its capacity to improve the economy of the country. The expansion project is expected to be completed on August 31st of this year.
It is our hope that soon the port will have a big contribution in our country's economy. As you know, Lake Tanganyika is not operating in full capacity. Goods coming from Dar es Salaam to Kigoma will get to the dry port, and those coming into Bujumbura will come via Lake Tanganyika.
That's where we leave off with international news. Business news follows after this short break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news. The Minister of Agriculture, Professor Adolf Mkenda, has called on maize farmers and traders to look for opportunities in the market in Kenya as borders with Tanzanians have been opened, with the Minister of Agriculture from Kenya, Peter Munya, at Namanga border to ensure trade barriers between the two countries are resolved.
kutatua changamoto hizi za biashara.
They were able to resolve trade challenges. Firstly, maize trade. Within this month, ministers in charge of trade from the two countries will meet. But we shall also meet to make sure that we invest in the two countries. This is to benefit cassava farmers, but to also train stakeholders in cassava trade and allow processors an opportunity to add value to the crop. There are certain crops that are doing well, one being grapes, which does well in arid condition.
Port and marine transport stakeholders have advised the government to amend the Tanzania Shipping Agency Act of 2017 so that agency becomes a regulator and to allow business aspects to be implemented by other stakeholders in order to create a competitive business climate and bring down consumer costs.
Isipokuwa sasa kiabaki kwa mdhibiti na kama swala la uchumi kuingiza serikali.
Control measures earn the government a lot of revenue, but there are areas that we've not yet been able to control, which can bring government revenue through TASAC.
Tumevunja sheria ile, makubaliano ile ya Kyoto Convention.
We've broken the Kyoto Convention, which doesn't allow the regulator to participate, but it also removes competition.
Imeongeza gharama ya kufanya biashara. Talenga kwenye ufanisi katika sekta ya uchukuzi.
We will focus on efficiency on transportation sector, and stakeholders that we invited here are our point of focus because they do this job every day and understand the challenges.
The Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange has sent current sensitization on investment issues and assurance of investor protection by President Samia Suluhu Hassan has started to have an impact at the stock exchange as more companies are investing in shares and treasury bonds.
Kuanzia Januari mpaka sasa hivi tunakaribia bilioni 500 za kiuwekezaji katika upande wa hatifungani kwa hapa sokoni.
From January to date, we have close to 5 billion in investment in bonds, but also in shares, we are close to 50 billion from January to date.
Zinawapa confidence zaidi ukilinganisha na bidhaa zingine.
That is all for the business news. Sports news is next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Position, Joaquinho, he did lose and then.
And now in sports. Yanga Sports Club have suffered a huge blow ahead of the Kariakor Derby after it merged 2 key players will not be available for the Saturday clash.
Pwani Giants will face their rivals for the second time this league campaign, but the club have confirmed winger Carlos Carlinhos and defender Yassin Mustafa have pulled out of the squad owing to injuries and will thus miss the clash at Benjamin Mkapa Stadium. Yanga team doctor Shekim Gazidja has confirmed the 2 players have already been allowed to leave camp as they start treatment for their various injuries. This will be a huge blow to Yanga and Carlinhos, who also missed the first meeting between the 2 sides as they battled to a 1-1 draw.
And Simba Sports Club head coach Didier Gomez da Rosa and midfielder Kalatis Chama have been named the Mainland Premier League's best performers for the month of April. Here's the report.
Second story. Wekundu wa Msimbazi were undefeated through April in the Premier League despite the fact they had CAF Champions League duties to attend to as well. The first local game for Simba was a match against Mtibwa Sugar, which they won by a margin of 5-0. They followed it with a 1-0 win over Mwadui away from home before they played Kagera Sugar and claimed another 3 points courtesy of a 2-0 win. The last two engagements in April saw them face Gwambina and Dodoma Jiji, where they picked up 1-0 and 3-1 wins respectively.
Ed Sheeran has signed a deal as a shirt sponsor for the Ipswich Town men's and women's team, marking another step in the League One club's attempts to reverse a decade and a half of flagging fortunes on and off the pitch.
The 4 times Grammy-winning singer-songwriter, who is based in Suffolk and supports the club, has agreed a deal that will initially cover the 2021-22 season. The shirts will be emblazoned with the titles of Ed Sheeran's albums Multiply, along with the world tour. Although Ipswich stand no chance of reaching this season's playoffs after this desperately disappointing second campaign in the third tier, the partnership with Ed Sheeran is a forward-looking move that comes a month after an American-led group bought the club in a £40 million deal.
The chances of athletes being fully vaccinated against COVID before the Tokyo Olympics have received a significant boost after the IOC struck a deal with Pfizer to donate free doses to competitors and staff.
Britain had been one of the few leading countries, along with Japan, not to guarantee its athletes priority doses, with the British Olympic Association not wanting to be seen to jump the queue. However, the BOA was quick to welcome the memorandum of understanding between the International Olympic Committee and Pfizer and BioNTech to make the vaccine available to those going to Tokyo. Vaccination will not be mandatory, but the IOC says it expects a significant number of participants to have received the jab before the Games.
Lewis Hamilton has said he will not be drawn into mind games against his Red Bull rivals during his attempt to secure his 8th Formula One World Championship.
The British driver, speaking before the Spanish Grand Prix this weekend, was reacting to the announcement on Thursday that Red Bull had poached a further 5 members of Hamilton's Mercedes team to work for their new engine division. Red Bull recruited Ben Hodkins as technical director of their new powertrains department 2 weeks ago. He had been head of mechanical engineering at Mercedes High Performance Powertrains, has worked at the team's engine department in Brixworth for 20 years, and is seen as a crucial part of the team's 7 consecutive drivers and constructors championships.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this bulletin, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching. Have a good night and a great weekend.
Kutoka